So there's going to be 3 parts to tonight's video. 1, me responding to some of the comments in last week's video that I felt like I should. Number 2, I want to also share gossip from this week that was really good, okay? And make sure you didn't miss any of it. And number 3, I'm going to do a recap, okay, tonight of episode, God, we're on 13, I think.
Hi, you guys. All right, so few things. I was reading the comments from last week's video, and I just have to say that number 1, you know that sometimes I do these videos at like 1 in the morning, right? So I'm not exactly on my most,
I may not be sharp as a tack as I usually am at that time.
Some of you guys watch it the next day and think I'm like bright and bushy tail when I do them, but I'm not. But I did want to call out a few edits that people made on the last video in the comments, to be fair. And what shocked me is we're kind of both wrong. Take a look.
Okay, so the first critical edit I got from you guys was that Tom Sandoval was the one who said the words dipped out. Rachel Leviss never did, although many of you did agree with me that it was about Rachel Leviss. So Tom Sandoval said it, which is why he's wearing the shirt. However, I do want to point out that we were both wrong about how Tom Sandoval sees this shirt. So I thought it was in bad taste because it has to do with currently a lawsuit, a scene that, a girl felt like, I guess, later taken advantage of. And, whatever. The dipped out shirt wasn't in good taste, in my opinion, because it had to do with cheating and disrespecting his girlfriend. That was my bigger point. But what really shocked me as I went back, I always read your comments. And if I feel like you have valid ones, I look into it and I learn and I correct my wrong thought or whatever. I looked into it and his idea of what this meant was very different. So on Tom's pitch for this shirt, for you guys to buy it, it says, dive into the drama with the dipped out t-shirt inspired by Tom Sandoval. Are you a fan of iconic reality TV moments? Do you love fashion that speaks louder than words? Then you're in the right place. Introducing the dipped out t-shirt inspired by none other than Tom Sandoval from the hit show Vanderpump Rules. This isn't just any t-shirt. It's a statement, a piece of pop culture, and a nod to one of the most talked about moments in recent television history. And then it goes on, during the explosive season 10 reunion of the Vanderpump Rules, Tom Sandoval dropped a line that would echo across the Bravo universe. Amidst a scandal involving an affair, a seemingly offhand comment about a t-shirt became a symbol of controversy and intrigue. One way of putting it. She kept her t-shirt on. It was really hot, said Sandoval, instantly igniting a firestorm of reactions from fans and co-stars alike. So this dipped out shirt for Tom is more about Rachel Leviss keeping her t-shirt on when they were having sex while he was cheating on Ariana Madix. So, any way you spin this one, it's gross to me, just saying. And then some people mentioned the name of the theater. They said, Dana, it's not the Jane Fonda Theater, you silly. It's the Henry Fonda Theater. And I looked it up today, and it isn't either. It's not the Henry Fonda Theater. It's not the Jane Fonda Theater. I guess they changed the name, and it is now the Fonda Theater. And yes, this is the correct one. Okay, we're about to get to the gossip from this week. Don't worry, but I got one more I've got to clarify. So another critique I got was some people disagreed with my interpretation of the Tom Sandoval James Kennedy fight on last week's show. Let me read you what Vulture said about it. Tom says he was really broken up about the podcast, but James is a little thrilled by it because Rachel said she never loved Tom. And the reason she fell for him is that she wasn't really over James. He tells Tom that he's done talking trash about her, and for the white Kanye to be done talking shit about someone is practically amazing. Tom says he's upset that Rachel discarded him. I was just saying last week that fight to me showed both those men were really in love with Rachel Leviss. And it also showed me that it meant something to them, whether she loved them or not, or who she loved more. And that's pretty much my point, right? You wouldn't care either way if you didn't really like her or love her at some point. So I hope I said it better this week. So Ariana did the LA Times Book Festival. I guess it was on April 20th and April 21st, and she spoke. Here's something she spilled some tea.
Concerned though, like how you're gonna keep the pens and batteries stocked.
Very. It's a daily struggle.
Are you gonna hire Anne to sort of help you?
Anne will be the official officer of pens and batteries.
I had to ask. Come on, I had to ask. I don't know how much you can tell me because I know that it's sort of up to the West Hollywood gods, but when can we have a green goddess sandwich on the patio of this sandwich shop?
Very soon. Katie recently said dangerously soon in a good way, and she means it, I promise.
A Reddit user, Lucky Duckling 8989, also took notes to other tea Ariana said. So this was it. I wish I recorded more, but I really wanted to enjoy it without having a phone the whole time. I did also add a video in another post. She did mention the following. Number one, the fact that she didn't think she could do a book alone the first time, partly because she really felt that way and partly because Sandoval added to that fear. And once Sandoval did what he did, made her realize how strong she was and she could do anything, including a book. She wants to make a mocktail book someday for the pregnant people and sober folk like me. She says that Vanderpump and all reality TV always gives all sides of situations, always and forever. She was prepared for the redemption arc because it's the nature of storytelling with this particular situation, but she thinks he's not contributing to his own redemption. She thought the season went differently with the girls during filming, and watching it now, she said, quote, I thought we were like Spice Girls, yay, but no. Okay. She was asked if VPR is beneficial to her anymore, and she had to say she couldn't comment on those choices, but she would make the right choice that worked for her if it made sense in the future. She was asked if she was prepared for a villain edit, and she made a joke, you don't think I'm getting the villain edit? Like it's already happening, and laughed, fully knowing she's being seen and edited a certain way. She was so diplomatic about how shows work, though, so it felt like she either wasn't that mad or was more than prepared for these questions or for this. She also mentioned the timing of filming so quick after the season 10 reunion both helped and harmed her healing. She said, we all saw her at her messiest because in trauma, fight, flight, freeze or fawn, she freezes. So she's hiding out in her room with all of her boxes and belongings because she's hunkering down and freezing up so quickly after everything. But she's happy it helped her push through some of the awkwardness, and it gave her pieces to work with day by day to heal. So Katie Maloney says that the reason she thought Jax was cheating was because of this picture with Jax Taylor and his publicist Lori that was taken in Canada when he was with Schwartz. It just was a little too cuddly for her. And she felt that most of the fans believed that there was something funny going on. Also, Brittany thinks something funny is going on because she unfollowed both publicist Lori and Jax Taylor. And to be clear, Lori was Brittany Cartwright's publicist. And then, I guess she isn't anymore. So this is such a bad look for this publicist that I really don't think she would risk it unless there was a personal relationship between her and Jax Taylor. That's my take. And they did post other pictures in their current trip that they took together. They weren't like that one where they're like cuddled up, but they certainly are together. And I'd say Brittany put a line in the sand and Jax ignored it, and so did Lori, which is another indicator. All right, so Vanderpump recaps caught Joe on a live spilling all the tea, and it's about a 4-minute clip. It is so much tea in it. I'm going to show you the whole thing, and then we'll get into the recap.
Did I suck off Schwartz?
Okay, well, they were in a relationship.
Yeah, of course I did. What the fuck is going on? He was really good at having sex. I don't know why Katie didn't like his dick. He was great. Oh, God. Why did Kyle Chan say you're a liar? Don't know. No clue. Did you hear Kyle? No, I did not. You're perfect for Tom. Yeah, probably. Checkers, get your... No, I think Katie actually literally has kind of gotten to a place where she's like, oh, Joe isn't the bad person. Or like, I could, yeah, like at the reunion, it was like, she apologized. It was like the sweetest thing. But I'm not friends with her. I'm just saying that like, Schwartz, one big thing happened that made him, we don't know what that one big thing was. We don't know. But I'm also going to let you guys all in on a little secret. Let him go. Let him date. Let him be. I don't want to be, you know, like, we're broken up. It is what it is. Do you think Schwartz is my other half? Yes, I do. But I think it's going to take some time.
Yeah, you have said that for a long time.
Yeah, I have. And I think that him and I are just kind of like
Well, it's like in due time.
In due time.
When
Are you and Katie good now? We've never, Katie and I have never been friends or anything. I have nothing against Katie. I literally, like, and you know this, like, she was duped just the same way as, you know, I was. So, like,
sure.
we do not need to hate on Katie. Everyone chill out.
Yeah.
Would you ever be friends with Kristen again? Nope.
Hard no.
Hard no. No.
No, thank you.
No, I don't think I'm ever going to get back together. Maybe in the future, but I'm not really sure. I have met Sophia. She was so sweet. We did like a handshake, and it was like, hi, nice to meet you. Da, 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 da. And then, she seems great. Has Kristen? No, Kristen has not apologized. And you know that. Ugh. Wait 1 second. I want to show you my Christian. Oh, yes. DM me. Katie might be jealous, but like, obviously I'm jealous of her eyebrows. So like, it's like a thing.
She does have good eyebrows.
She's got the best eyebrows. I mean, look at my face. I'm like, you know, I mean, a little bit like, oh wait, do you think Schwartz led you on? Yes, 100%. Joe, are you bi by any chance? I'm not bi. I'm strictly dickly. I love a dick. Is that weird to say that?
No.
Okay. Yeah, no, I'm not. I know. I kind of come off as like a little bit lesbian-like, but
No, I don't think
I don't like the Grateful Dead. I do like Lala so much. Are you going to do Lala's podcast? I don't think that she's asked me to do it.
No, I don't think so.
I don't either. I think
Would you do it though?
absolutely.
Yeah, she's a sweet girl.
She's a sweet girl.
From what you've told me.
Yes. And like she was the one that gave me so much grace, and she didn't have to give me grace. So like that was, yeah. I love these earrings too. They're actually from Tom Schwartz. That's kind of crazy. How often do you talk to Schwartz? Right now, not really a lot because, you know, like, what do? You don't want to talk to your ex about, like,
especially when he has a new girlfriend.
Yeah,
it's
no.
Like messy.
Yeah, like, we want him to go to Coachella and have fun and, like, enjoy his, like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't want him to be, like, I don't want him, I don't want to,
Well, also, they're in the process of a breakup, which...
yeah.
Takes a while.
Yeah, and I also like don't want to obviously infiltrate like myself into a relationship that, you know, he's in a new one, so it's like, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm not gonna like, you know.
Yeah.
Do you know his GF? I don't know Schwartz's GF. I don't know him. I don't know her. I don't. I think that she was a fan of the show. That's what I was told. Mm-hmm. But he seems happy, so, like, let's go. You know what I mean?
And that's all you care about.
That's all I care about is Schwartz's happiness.
All right, season 11, episode 13 recap. Let's go. We open the show tonight, and Brittany Cartwright and Jax Taylor are still together. Jax Taylor shows up at James Kennedy's house. He says, I can't believe Katie said that I was cheating on Brittany. She's starting a bunch of rumors. Why is she trying to destroy my life? And then James Kennedy does a confessional video, and he says, frankly, I believe Katie over Jax. And Jax has a past, and we all know what that is. And he's a serial cheater, so he's probably cheating again, to be fair. Jax does not want to really make up with Lisa Vanderpump, but he's willing to do it. And he says, she just owns a couple of restaurants. Why do I have to kiss her ass? And then James says, just bring her some flowers. And he's like, you mean be the bigger guy? And he's like, I guess I could do that. Then we jump to a scene where Brittany Cartwright is sitting with Scheana Shay, and Scheana Shay is lamenting about her relationship with Brock Davies. She says that she feels insecure, she has postpartum OCD, and she feels like Lala Kent flirts with Brock Davies, and she sees comments where people say that about Lala Kent. And her fear is that, like, Lala Kent secretly is crushing on Brock Davies, and it scares her. And this she doesn't believe is real. She believes it's part of her OCD from having a baby. And so she's dealing with that. She was on Zoloft, and then she had to quit because it was making her too tired and she couldn't take care of her baby properly. So Brittany doesn't bring up that she's having relationship problems with Jax, which we know she is, but obviously the producers picked her to have this conversation with Scheana for a reason. Now, Scheana is, trying to make her family work. Brock Davies feels a loss of purpose, and one of his biggest problems is he's not the breadwinner of the family, and Scheana Shay is, and he's got low self-esteem over it, even though this time around he's acting like a better dad. Okay, so in the next scene, we see Katie and Tom Schwartz. They're having lunch together, their first one-on-one since the divorce, because she said she didn't want to hang out with Tom ever, at least on the show. And so she's like, it's a big deal that we're having this lunch together. They get together and they compete over Tori. And somehow Schwartz sees the fact that Katie is making an effort in doing this lunch and making the lunch about Tori and them like fighting over her in a jovial way. He sees this as their love language, not to get back together, but like they're trying to kind of reconnect, or Katie is anyway. And so he sees it as a positive thing. Katie notices his hair. They talk about Joe. Katie doesn't really drag Joe or anything in this scene. He says, I feel really bad because she felt like I was embarrassed to have her around, but I wasn't. It just was a weird time in my life. And Katie was like, okay. And then she said, why did you copy my hair glow up? And he said, I didn't copy your hair glow up. And then he was like, did you have a glow up? Typical Tom Schwartz. Anyway, Katie's like, yes, we both had hair glow ups, and the scene ends. Then we move on to an anniversary. And what happens is Scheana Shay and Brock Davies are having problems. They go on their 1-year marriage anniversary to dinner at this cool, trendy restaurant. And during it, we learn a few things about their relationship right now. We find out that they're in couples therapy already, and Brock really wants to continue that. He also seems a bit standoffish with his body language when Scheana Shay is being affectionate to him. She is like, why can't you appreciate what you do for our family now? And Brock Davies is struggling with this. He doesn't want to be purposeless and just be the father only. And she's like, that's a really important job. And why wouldn't you want to correct what you did wrong in the first place? And then we see a montage of all the things said about his previous family, the back child support, not seeing the kids, et cetera, et cetera. And Brock Davies breaks down at the 1-year anniversary about this and cries and seems to acknowledge it, but we don't get the sense like he wants to just be the daddy, the stay-at-home daddy. So it's, yeah. So then we see Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval at a tattoo shop, and Schwartz is getting his dogs tattooed on him, but they kind of tease us. He's like, I always put my true loves on my body. And we see a montage of those scenes and we wonder what it is. And they give us a quick glimpse, but you can't really see it. And then suddenly you're like, oh, it's the dogs. Ha, ha, ha. Okay. During this, Schwartz and Tom Sandoval talk about moving in together again as roommates. And so we think maybe it might happen, but we're not sure what this would look like Tom Schwartz and Tom Sandoval living in a new house or what. And they kind of tease that. We also find out that Kyle Chan is doing a whiskey launch in San Francisco that's going to be super over the top. And during this moment, we also see Tom Sandoval fall off of a chair onto the floor. And Schwartz is like, Ariana's karma got you. I don't think so, because if her karma got him, it'd be a lot worse than falling off a chair. Then we jump to a quick scene of James and Allie getting a face workout, which is a new thing they're doing in LA where they strengthen your face, I guess, to get younger looking. And They talk about the difficulties their relationship are having because James doesn't want to leave the dog. And obviously the dog has some issues, so he has to be careful who he leaves the dog with. And then Allie is like, we've already made a lot of changes in our relationship because of my cats. And you and I sometimes don't sleep in the same room. We sleep in separate rooms. So like the animals are causing problems a little bit in our relationship and no one's compromising, and I'm concerned. Then we see Ariana and Madix in her home gym talking to her boyfriend Daniel Way, saying, I'm so excited to see you in a week in San Francisco. And he agrees, and we see them interact a little bit. And then she tells him the big news, which is that she has submitted a counter offer to Tom Sandoval's original offer, and that's in process, and she's waiting to hear a response. And Tom is seemingly meeting with real estate agents about real estate, but we find out in a future scene that it's kind of BS, that he plans on staying in his house. So then we jump to James' brunch and Lisa Vanderpump's there, and we find out that Jax Taylor wants to co-host a brunch at Lisa Vanderpump's venue for James, with James. And he's good for business because he brings in a lot of people as a promoter. And so Lisa thinks about it, but she really can't stand Jax for all the awful things he said about her in the press on different podcasts, and we hear them all again. And then Jax comes in, he doesn't bring flowers, and he basically says his beef with Lisa Vanderpump is that she didn't reach out to his family. I'll tell you what, I'll play you a clip. I have to do it in this way or it'll get copyright strike, but you'll get the drift. And since last week, we all kind of disagreed on what Tom and James was fighting about. I love it. I want to just play it for you.
If you have to.
Well, I'm just...
It's not yes,
I do.
if you have to.
I have to, if you don't mind.
Well, I kind of do.
You want me to stand up?
No, I don't even really want you to be here, to be honest. Because when you come here, expecting everything to be so cool and, cozy.
Okay.
And here you are on a podcast saying, Lisa's a prop. She's not needed. She's superfluous. That's what you said, superfluous.
Regardless, we can say this back and forth.
Okay, she's not needed.
Sorry.
I mean, I could have hit back in the press and said the only person that wasn't needed in this show was you. I could have said that, but I didn't.
Okay, so here we go. So last 3 years, you haven't checked on me and my wife. You wrote me off.
You're such a hypocrite.
You wrote me off after 10 years and didn't even check in with me once. If I said something wrong in the heat of the moment, I apologize.
Jax, I wasn't going to say anything. All the that you talk about me, I really wasn't going to bring it up. But when you're putting your name on a flyer about my business, I would be remiss if I didn't say something to you. You understand what I'm talking about?
I agree.
Okay, moving on.
So I'm going to...
Lisa's very intimidating to fight with on reality TV. Believe me, I did. It was one of my first days shooting on Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, and I was supposed to have a problem with Lisa. It was very intimidating. It's tough. And I feel for Jax. He didn't show how stressful that was, but that was really stressful for him to do, let me tell you. And she didn't come so hard, probably because she's got a stake in the valley, right? And she's kind of moving on now. But she definitely wasn't happy with what he said in the press. I can tell you that. She holds a grudge. So Jax asks Ariana Madix, how does she feel about Schwartz and Sandoval staying in her house as roommates? And Ariana's like, I don't care. I just want my money. We kind of jump back to James and Allie again and their struggles with the relationship. James doesn't want to go to a wedding that Allie is going to be in, and she really wants him to come, and he says he can't go because the dog doesn't have his brother to watch him. He seems to be traumatized about losing Hippie. He starts to cry at this party. It's very strange. He's like, I don't want to let anything happen to him again. He seems like he has some sort of trauma with this, and it's very possible like there's a deeper meaning for James. So anyway, the girls don't understand because they respect that he loves his dog, but he tries to compare the dog to real kids, and they're like, don't go there. And anyway, it ends up a mess, and nobody really wins, and Allie is second fiddle to James, and that's pretty much what we figure out. So the pool party gets really messy. There's men yelling everywhere. Brock Davies gets mad at Scheana Shay because she wants to leave the party and go be with the baby, and Brock is like, I just want to stay and party. and she doesn't want to do that, and that becomes like a scene, and I think it was real. It felt real the way it went down. And then so that happens, and then Tom Sandoval shows up, and he starts fighting with Scheana Shay over the fact that she exploited Scandival. And then, you know, they get into it, and he says, "You're the victim all the time. Why are you making it about you?" And screaming at her about this. And he's like, you know, "This isn't about you. You weren't betrayed in all this." And she said, "Well, I got a restraining order, and because of you, I'm traumatized because I don't trust my own husband with one of my best friends."
I now have up thoughts about Brock and Lala, one of my best friends, because I'm like, oh my God, can someone do that to me?
Why is
because
that
they
like,
did it to her.
Why is that my fault?
It's
true. I think that's
I
think that's
you did that.
And James Kennedy's like, "Oh my God, me too. I'm like traumatized like that also." And then Tom Sandoval like doesn't care, and he keeps kind of going and holding his ground. And then as Scheana gets really heated with Tom, and Tom turns around and goes, "You were the other woman. You know what it's like to be the other woman." Oh, and then Scheana goes nuts. And then Brock puts his hand on Tom's shoulder like intimidatingly to kind of intimidate him. And he's like, "She was 20 something, you are 40. First of all, most men would be really upset to have that even said in front of people, you know. So Brock, you know, that reminds you your girlfriend was like not the way that men generally like, which is like innocent and pristine, right? So that was one reason that's very upsetting what Tom said. But the other reason it's upsetting is that Brock's point was that she was very young and she made mistakes. And, you know, some of the fans that hate Scheana will be like, "Oh, but she did it more than once." So we find out that Tom is refinancing the house and is going to keep the house, basically. So we finally know. And he's going to have to get a roommate because his mortgage is going to be $22,000 a month. $22,000 a month. Now, you guys were like, Tom Sandoval does not have a Ferrari. But, I mean, Tom Sandoval probably drives a pretty nice car if he's able to afford $22,000 a month. He was only asking Tom Schwartz for $6,000 a month of the 22. Just saying. All right, kids, another one in the can. I'm going to cover Kyle Richards' daughter's robbery in a few minutes. So if you want to come back to the channel, it'll be ready in a little bit.